Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Sarah here with Furniture Flip by Sarah. And in today's video, I'm taking you through a complete makeover. I'm going to be making over 2 dressers in this video. They are both made of MDF, particle board, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you how to flip these pieces, how to transform them. They can still be saved. They're not the same as like regular real hard wood, but if you have these pieces or if you need to flip them, this is the video for you. I will share everything with you guys. And again, this is just how I like to flip furniture, what I've learned along the way. It might not be the right way, might not be the best way, but this is the way I flip furniture. So if you want to keep watching, let's get into the video. So to start repairing this dresser, I ended up using some dry decks. This is a drywall compound, like similar to a wood filler. I found this one best for this piece, so I applied it into all of the areas where the MDF kind of plastic coating was coming off, and then I just filled it, and then once it completely dried, I sanded it down smooth, and then you couldn't even tell that there was this gap missing from the original piece. So now I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of the original hardware off of this piece. And to do that, I'm going to be using a star head screwdriver. To sand this piece, I went ahead and used my Surf Prep sander. You can order these on their website directly. I will leave the link down below. I am using a soft grit just to give this a light sand. If there's any bumps or any ridges, this will smooth it out and give me a nice surface to start priming. Now I'm just going to take my spray bottle with some diluted TSP and clean this piece down completely. Now to prime this piece, I'm going to go ahead and use my Bin shellac base primer. This is my favorite primer by far. I'm going to probably do 3 coats on this piece, getting it fully covered, making sure my paint is going to adhere properly. Before I go ahead and prime this piece, I am just going to tape off the edges on the sides here to make sure I get a nice clean finish. You might be wondering why I'm wearing only one glove on one hand, but I cut myself earlier and I just don't want anything to get in there. Even though I do have a bandage on it, I am just being extra careful. To apply my primer to this piece, I'm going to go ahead and use a microfiber roller. These are also the rollers I like to use to apply paint with, and I'm just using a brush from the dollar store. With this primer, it does smell very strong. It almost smells like alcohol, and it's really hard to clean. So what I like to do is wrap up my brush and my roller and then stick it into the fridge, and it will usually last me a little bit longer rather than just throwing it out every time. But if you have a way to clean this primer off of your brushes or rollers, definitely let me know down in the comments.
It's hard to resist the thing that I missed for so long. Can't remember when it started, so many.
Once the primer dried for 24 hours, I went ahead and started painting. To paint this piece, I am using the Advanced line by Benjamin Moore, and this color is Chantilly Lace, and it is in their high gloss finish. This was my first time working with this finish, and I actually really loved it. It gives a super shiny look to it, perfect for glam, or if you want something to be super durable, I definitely recommend their high gloss. When working with this paint in their Advanced line, I like to mostly roll it if I can because this paint is super self-leveling, but to get into the cracks and any little nooks of this dresser, I am going to be using a brush. I am using an extra large Purdy brush in the Firm, and then again my microfiber rollers. I ended up doing a total of 3 coats of paint and 2 coats of primer to cover this piece and make sure everything was super solid. I find with whites sometimes it takes a while to get to a solid true white. If you were to do 1 coat of primer and let's say 2 coats of paint, it just wouldn't look right. You would still be able to see that underneath color, and it would almost kind of come through blue or brown depending on what you were painting. In this case, this dresser was blue and brown, so that would come through. That's why I like to make sure I do 2 coats of primer, sometimes 3 if it's still bleeding through, and then again 3 coats of paint. So I still need to do 2 more coats of paint on this piece, but before I get any further with the painting, I want to finish the detail to cover up this glass here. My order came in and I'm super excited. If you've seen Katie Scott's new video, if you follow her YouTube channel, I'll post the inspiration here. But this is what gave me the idea for this. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to cover it. I didn't want to just paint it. So I think this solution is going to be great. I ordered some dowels for this. I know in Katie Scott's video, she used, I think, like a half-round trim, but I was able to pick up some dowels, so I'm going to cut these to size and place them all along the top here. So if you want to know the exact size dowels I'm using, I'll kind of put it here, if this focuses, but it is a 3x8 by 48, and they come in, I believe, a 3x8 by 42. This is definitely a smaller size. I didn't want it to stick out too much, but you do need quite a few of these. For the matching taller dresser to this, I think I used about like 6 maybe. So you need quite a few. I got about 25 here, so I'm going to tape them together to try to do as many cuts as I can with it together. And then I'll probably have to take it apart and do it individually. I found the best way to cut these dowels was figure out my measurement, and then once I had that, I taped bundles together, the thickest amount that was safe and easy enough to cut, and then I just continued that multiple times. So you can see here, I am just measuring it out and then repeating that process with every cut. I did want to mention one thing. When I first ordered what I thought was these dowels, off of Amazon, I waited like 2 weeks, they came in, and they were chicken skewers. So from the pictures and everything, they looked just like these. Of course, I didn't read into the description to see the exact size. And then I ended up ordering them off of Home Depot, and I ordered some from my home hardware, local home hardware as well. So just a little tip, make sure to look into what you're ordering because you will be disappointed if you end up with chicken skewers. So as I'm doing this, I think my measurements were a little bit big. So I might have to tape a few of these again. I'm gonna lay them out and figure out which ones I need to trim, but I'll just tape them all together and trim them down. So now what I'm gonna do, because I still need to be able to put my knob on, I'm gonna go ahead and just mark this one and then cut it in half. I'm just gonna try to line it up with the hole, and I'm gonna cut it. You guys can see that. Slice it here and here. That way this little gap that's in the middle will have enough room for the screw to come up, and then I can still install the new knobs for this piece. Good to go. So then I can just glue it in just like that, and I should be good to go. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cut enough pieces for this side, and then I'm gonna glue them all on at once. I'm gonna be using some LePage wood glue. This is just their carpenter's glue, and I'm just gonna apply some of this on here. The only thing is with this wood glue, it drips, so I don't wanna put too much because I don't wanna have it dripping down. I repeated the same process to the other side, but I found smoothing out the wood glue worked a little bit easier. To do this, I just used a leftover piece of sandpaper. That's all I had to just kind of smooth it out. You could use a rag or cloth to get the same effect, but I found by leveling it out an evenly smooth layer, I was able to glue down my dowels much faster. So you can see I still have quite a few extra dowels. I just wanted to order more to make sure I didn't run out. So I'll save those for another project. But now what I'm going to do, because I wasn't able to cut them all perfectly, I'm going to go ahead and cut a thin piece of wood to go across the top here. And then I'm going to glue that on and let this sit for 24 hours. So it's hard to tell because this piece is upside down, but I have these pieces cut. I think I just need to trim them a bit because they are a little bit, like they hang out a little bit longer than the top of this, so I'm not too sure. Sorry, I'm trying to get a better look if that will be okay. Everything will be getting painted, but I think I should just trim it down a little bit so it's not so thick. This piece of wood down, I just went ahead and used my table saw because I needed to cut down the width of it, or the depth. I needed it to be a little bit skinnier to suit the style of this dresser better. And I am just gliding this through, pushing it through, making sure to be very careful because I do not want to lose a finger. And then once I cut both of those on, they were ready to be glued. So now I'm just using a sanding sponge from my Surf Prep. I'm just smoothing the edges that I cut for this piece. I just trim them down, smoothing them out, and then I'm just going to glue them onto the dresser. To glue these pieces down, I'm just using the same LePage wood filler. It's just their wood filler, I mean glue. I'm using the same glue to just glue these pieces down. So I now have this little piece of wood here glued on. I had to get creative because I didn't have enough clamps to hold all of it down. So I used some weights and whatnot, but that is drying. Now that everything is on there and it's sitting, I will come back tomorrow, 24 hours from now, and remove all the weights and the clamps and then see if it's good to go, and then I can start priming it and painting it. So now that the piece has dried for 24 hours, I'm gonna go ahead and just wood fill this little seam here, so making sure that it's super smooth and even. I wanna just make this look a little bit cleaner, more professional. You guys probably can't see this, but there's a spider! Oh my god, I absolutely hate spiders. Okay, let's cut. I gotta kill this thing, sorry. So as I was saying, I just want to fill this in to make it look a little bit more professional. And to do that, I'm going to be using my Drydex. I just bought the larger one for a recent video I did, and I still have tons left, so I'm just going to use that in a spackle knife and just fill that in. So now the wood fill or wood spackle is in there. I'm gonna let it dry for 24 hours. Hopefully that's enough time, but because it's pretty thick and some areas were deeper than the others, it might take a little bit longer to dry, but you can already see how much better that is gonna look. Super clean and more professional. So once that dries, I'll share that with you guys and lightly sand it, and then I can start priming. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just use the same primer I was using before and prime this wood. Even though I love the look of this and I definitely want to recreate this look keeping these wood, but for this makeover it's going to be for a little girl's room, so we're doing kind of like a glam look, and we are going to be painting this. So the piece is almost completed. It's all painted. Again, we went with a super high gloss finish, so it's super shiny. And then since we're going with a glam look, I ordered these off of Amazon. I will link them down below if I can. And they're just rose gold crystal. So I'm just gonna add these to all of the drawers and then do some final touches. I might do some sealant underneath here just so it looks super clean. But other than that, this dresser is ready to go. And because the original screws that came with this handle set are a little bit too long, I'm just gonna go ahead and add some washers and bolts to them to make sure they fit perfectly. Here's the final look with the knobs on. It looks super cute. I'm loving it, and compared to what this looked like before, it looks amazing. I'm really happy with the high gloss finish and the whole design. It's gonna be perfect. It's going into a young girl's room, so I'm super excited to get this in there. If I can, I will get some footage of it in the room to kind of show you guys a little bit better. It's super heavy, so I won't be able to stage it because right now my staging wall is in my basement, so it's just not worth trying to carry it down there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will show you a couple more clips of it here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!